name is something.
Chandra.
My name is Chandra. Yeah, we're really approachable, really friendly, just a couple of dorks. So
their names.
feel free to like say hi to us whenever you see us. If I'm waiting for the bus, don't slow down because it scares me. But like any other time is great. But yeah, so
We have names, and you can talk to us.
yeah.
We're humans.
Yeah. So I want to mention really quick that you all know this, but the lineup comes together because of our community of women writers that are like, yo, I work with this amazing person, shoot them an email, or someone will attend a reading and be like, this person was fantastic. So this reading series is sustained only with the energy of our community, and yeah, so feel free to reach out if there's someone that you really admire and really think would shine on the stage. That's the only way this works, and we're so grateful.
Even if it's you.
Yeah, even if it's you. Let us know.
It can be you that you admire and think would shine up here. 'Cause
Yeah.
we will agree with you.
Yeah.
Definitely. We'll agree with you.
But that really helps us, especially because like people have wild schedules and traveling for the summer and things open up all the time.
And we collectively know 2 people.
Yeah. This is very, and it's each other. It's a mess. So yeah, I want to give a shout out to my coworker Kate Kelly for helping me shape. Providing me some names, and so we're really grateful for this month's lineup.
Yeah. And without further ado, here it is.
It's happening.
Our first featured reader tonight, Jessica Hincapie, writes and teaches in Austin, Texas. She received her MFA in poetry from the University of Texas New Writers Project, where she served as Bat City Review's first online content and web editor. Currently, she works as programming associate at the Writing Barn, a retreat space that offers classes ranging from picture book to historical fiction. She is a recipient of numerous awards, including the University of Texas's Michael Adams Thesis Prize, finalist for Frontier Poetry's 2018 Industry Prize, and honorable mention for the Gulf Coast Prize in Poetry. You can find her work in print online in Ruminate Magazine, the Indiana Review, Four-Way Review, Gulf Coast Online, and more. She's currently working on her first collection of poetry, and her favorite ice cream flavor is chocolate chip cookie dough.
Chocolate chip cookie dough.
Yeah, anyone who doesn't like the chip can just go.
Get out of here.
All right, so I'm gonna read from my laptop something I never do, but we had a printing malfunction minutes before leaving, so this is what you get. I want to thank, Chandra, Anar, Kate for recommending my name. I've been to a few of these, and I'm always like, I want to get invited, but like I didn't know the right people. So thank you guys for having me. Okay, a little background. I'm only going to read one poem. Caveat, it's a long poem, but deal with it. And so it's a long poem, and much like its subject matter, the poem itself veers in many different directions. The form takes on the subject matter, and just like the subject matter, it too remains kind of unfinished. So I'm going to be reading parts of it. And is anyone familiar just a little bit with Sarah Winchester, the Winchester Mystery House? I see a few hands. Okay, basically really quick, lady who was the heiress to the Winchester Rifle Company, like the first Fortune 500 for guns, way back in like the 1800s, 1900s. She was the heiress, and a spiritualist told her, because she thought she was being haunted, to like go build this house out in San Jose and like keep building it. And that's the only way like the spirits wouldn't come and get her. So like the whole idea is she's this crazy lady, right? But there's this flip theory that I really like, where she's not crazy, she's a genius, and her house is like this testament to like mazes and numerology and Rosicrucian philosophy and like all this really cool stuff. So I kind of wrote a poem about it, and you can decide at the end if you think she's crazy or a genius. Maybe both. I tend to think geniuses are crazy. So this is that poem. The homes we build. after Sarah Winchester and her mystery house. To provide meaningful architecture is not to parody history, but to articulate it. Daniel Libeskind. Door. The famous poet says our generation is obsessed with violence. In the bedroom, in the body, anywhere the gun can go off. And yes, it is true, humans have complicated every gift, but each hole in this earth alludes to a center. Sunroom. In 1866, the Winchester Arms Company built its first repeating rifle, a gun to win the West. Soon after, William Winchester dies. His wife, Sarah, inherits the infamous fortune. Parlor. Entering into the house is to stand in the center of a stillbirth. Untouched organ pump, cross-stitched pillows puffy from misuse. The only light in the room channeled through a single Tiffany oxide. As a girl, they called her Sally, Belle of the New Haven. Her mother, mad at the mud on her hem from reading under trees, books about Masonic mazes and lines from Lewis Carroll poems. Her interests sat squarely on the master blueprint of the world. Door. In one version of the story, widowed Sarah consults a spiritualist after seeing a figure in the shape of her father waving a yellow boy at her from across the lake. She is told to move out west to California and begin construction on her enigmatic mansion, alive as long as the hammer pounds. Staircase. Room within rooms, her house is a mimicry of this portmanteau planet, cubist dimension of heaven, secret messages of Shakespeare in mosaic, Pythagorean theorems in the crown molding. Small doors open into large rooms, large doors opening into mouse houses, painted pocket furniture. A forced perspective. In this version of the story, she is a genius, moving us through her way of understanding both the number and the leaf, the matrix of this dense meanwhile of being. Door. I thought I'd be better at this by now. Better at smiling through the junk mail, at believing in heaven for the both of us. When I write with the intention of making the myth real, I come up mostly with fists of loose fuel, begging for some match, some spark of magnesium. Kahn says the architect's job is to make space thoughtful. Shape of seashell pressed in wet cement, color of the French Revolution still in the patina. Perhaps this is why the poet survives. She has not yet forgotten the moon. She has not stopped praying for more thoughtful spaces. Ballroom. Not one nail, you would have heard her tell guests. Not one nail in this whole room, just like Solomon's temple. You would have heard her tell guests, if she'd had any. Sarah was a smart woman. Her brain proved female to the soul. What this means to us should be of great value. She made visible the insides of the labyrinth, took pains to braid the unsayable into one plate. The ballroom is most known for how empty it remained throughout her entire life, appearing as some sort of dream Grand Central Station. The only sound to bounce against the parquet floors was an iron bell in a small ceiling crest, used to signal the seance hours. Door. My mother calls me after the incident to see if I am safe. I call my mother after the incident to see if she is safe. Will we inherit this earth, or just its theaters of war? Skylight. Sarah rings the iron bell once at 12, again at 2. She moves from room to room, sleeping in a different bed each night, just to confuse what lives in the walls. Mirror. What the heart does. What the heart does is frightening. Things get doubled in glass, in shadow, in water, in eyes. To walk through the mirror like Alice, wouldn't that be some sort of mischief? Attic. The tour guides will tell you it was clean madness. A widow in the throes of grief and guilt, nervous about her inheritance, tied to the trigger, turned crazy because of the bodies drying out in the mud. This too is a forced perspective. Meanwhile, the only safe in the house holds no money, just a picture of the late Mr. Winchester and a lock of their dead infant's hair. Door. Out of the 2,000 doors she built, 1 in every 8 leads to a brick wall. 1 in every 8 is unfinished, a staircase to nowhere. Toilet. When you are a beautiful woman, you have certain responsibilities. But when you are a smart woman, no one expects a thing. This is why women hurt inwards. Men don't have this problem. They can be both beautiful and smart. This is why men hurt outwards. We leave our homes slower this morning, afraid to trip the invisible wire. News tells me to stay inside, but the highway stays slogged, the supermarket bloated with shoppers. Perhaps Sarah's house, too, is an exercise in continuing. Picture window. In an entirely different version of the story, Sarah believes that she is the reincarnation of Francis Bacon. In this version, she also believes Francis Bacon is the true author of Shakespeare's novels. So by proxy, in this version, she must also believe that she is Shakespeare. I'm delighted by this version. In thinking of her house as a masterpiece as precious as Hamlet or Alligator, and why not? Everything is subject to association. After the 1906 San Jose earthquake, Sarah refuses to rebuild what breaks. She is fond of the ruins, that which represents the spirit of the thing, the naked thought, ghosts of a different sort. Perhaps Sarah is what the mathematicians would call the immaterial middle point of arc. Door. It is 1895. Teddy Roosevelt brings down a white male rhino during his famed African safari, photoed with his favorite Winchester rifle. Door. Don't know how to shoot well, but know how to shoot often. Door. This quote becomes a point of axis among men. Door. It is 2018. For the third time this year, a gunman opens fire 5 miles from my home. It is 2018. The last white male rhino dies, pushing the species into extinction. Bedroom. If architecture is, as Gautier says, frozen music, then perhaps my poems are each a fixed point, and not at all the cannibalized piano sounds I believe them to be. No, perhaps they are the illegible self, demanding to be pressed into a shape it cannot possibly hold. Kitchen. Even in her darkest hours, Sarah fills the house with peaches. Odd that fruit from a tree can taste so sweet. A small reminder not all is drowned. Cupola. If you catch sight of a woman trapped in a tower, it is okay to assume she is cursed. Just do not assume that she is not looking down from said tower at you in your small armor, thinking the very same thing. Door. Rooms go on being built. Doors continue their disjointed dance. Sarah dies in the Daisy Room. It's 1923. The house lets in its first guest. Door. The story perpetuates itself. A nation pins all its unease on one woman. A year ago, one final room found behind slats of wood. The universe's grand gesture, just when you thought you were approaching the close, a wall reveals itself. What homes we build forever. Garden. We end at the heart of life's cipher. Flora and fauna in Fibonacci sequence, daisies, lilies, buckwheat, and rye. A cocoon cracks open. A mother delivers a worm. To write about life and not leave behind the details. When I get to the center, I will leave behind the details. I feel that this soul must be simultaneous with the ochre sky. Oh, to see the inside from the inside.